Hi folks, Pete Yeton here, Managing Director of Remarkable Law Consultancy Limited, with another vlog with the higher education strategist and operational backbone of the higher education sector and the agent market. We are a unique consultancy and being able to embed ourselves across the student journey from a recruitment strategy point of view through the compliance admissions registry, post-study work, and then a massive piece that we do with the agent management of helping the agents be the best they possibly can do with their individual business structures and how we know that where they need to get to in order to make sure that they can continue to have a very good contract with a sponsor. Having said that, I don't want this vlog to turn into a bit of a moan fest because it's not meant to be like that, but there is an observation that I need to make everyone aware of the past sort of dealings and the last 10 contracts I've had with institutions and also the last 15 years in the sector. We are at a tipping point in terms of how we are going to deal with the next few years with recruitment of international students. Tipping point really because we are seeing a reversal of how compliance has been operating back to the years of 2012, 2013, where it was a very compartmentalized team, normally quite small, and they weren't really connected to the wider institution, and they just dealt with risk on a black and white basis of a very reactive model. I've spent a number of years changing the platform and the focus of those into a very proactive model from a reactive one and embedding the compliance teams across the entire student journey. I did that when I came in 2013. I effectively reframed compliance risk management into a collaborative duty of care. I was one of the pioneers to throw that forward into the sector. And now you've seen a huge amount of changes internally of how the UKVI compliance teams are structured. And I would say definitely I was the initial one that did that, coming from a legal point of view of seeing what we needed, having represented students and colleges before I came into the sector. So that model has worked really well, but what's happening now is we're reversing back to how we used to operate, which is incredibly dangerous because we are in a very competitive market. The UK at the moment is still, by the skin of its teeth, hanging on to being the chosen country out of the big four, Canada, Australia, and the US. But Europe are obviously an extremely attractive offer for a number of students. And we have the sleeping giant of China that is now waking back up again in terms of really expanding their T&E model. The Chinese government has now released, I think, the 800,000 to 8 million different T&E models and partners, which they're looking to forecast for the next 7 years. So we need to be really aware that we cannot change the shape of how compliance and recruitment have been operating. And certainly it's a huge feature of the work I do when I'm in institutions and sponsors. And that's FE to private to HE, is we make sure that they, as a clear understanding that we all understand each other's processes. And that analogy of that Venn diagram, if you cast your mind back of doing maths at school, the Venn diagram, we're all in that interlinked part where we understand each other's processes and we have a good empathy about what we need to achieve. So this is really, it's more important than now than any other time that the UKVI compliance teams are really understanding what the challenges are for recruitment and admissions and the strategies. And equally, that side of the fence, which is recruitment and admissions, need to really fully understand the challenges that the compliance teams are under with the BCA metric changes. What we cannot have is any one of those two directing the travel of an institution, which is why I've coined the two-word phrase safe growth. It's a RLC moniker that we've been using now for about 6 months to a year. And the safe growth model is saying to the sector, it's clear we need to have a very good view on how we safely grow numbers in a compliant fashion, but we have to grow. We cannot go down the route, and I'm really opposing some of the thought processes across institutions of closing down courses or coming out of given countries. If you're at that stage, then your processes are failing, or your recruitment strategy is not working, or you're not managing your agent partnership very well. And if that's the case, give me a ring and I will come in and we'll have a chat about how to fix that. We need to be really clear about kicking back and not allowing this to happen where we're coming out of countries and stopping courses. So how we do this is we need to have a clearer understanding of the relationship between the agent model and also the sponsor and bring the two together. And that's what we do in the consultancy. We bring the roots so they're inextricably entwined as a great understanding and a greater collaboration. Keep talking, everyone. Stay connected and watch out for another vlog at the end of this week.